I just about failed this part of my real estate exam. Math has never been my strongest subject, and all this stuff about mortgages and taxes and rates, like I literally couldn't even wrap my head around it. Honestly, I don't even know how I passed the math portion of my real estate exam. Now, keep in mind, when I was in real estate school, I was very young, so I hadn't purchased a home. I didn't really even have people very close to me who had purchased a home that I could ask those questions, so I was just totally clueless. Now today, I'll still admit I'm no math expert, but I do know a thing or two when it comes to this real estate math, especially when we get into talking about down payments and mortgages and commission, of course. And there's one part of real estate math that as a real estate agent you're always going to see, and that's what I want to talk about in this video today. I'm going to show you how to calculate down payments, and then also I'm going to talk a little bit about the mortgage payments. So if this is your first time watching my videos, welcome to my channel. My name is Chastin J. Miles, and I have been a real estate agent for many years now, and I've sold millions of dollars worth of real estate year over year. And so what I like to do on my channel is really educate either agents who are coming into the business, or if you're already in the business, giving you the reality of what it's like working in real estate. And so I welcome you, and hit the subscribe button while you're watching this intro, and let's get into this topic. So commonly in a transaction, you're going to deal with two parties. So there's a real estate agent, which I would imagine that you are, and then there's also the lender, or you may hear loan officer, mortgage broker. They have several names, but we work hand in hand to get a transaction done. So if anybody's borrowing money from the bank to purchase a home, they're going to be taking out a mortgage or a loan from whatever financial institution, and they're most likely going to be working with a lender. You as the real estate agent, we show them the homes, we do all the documents, the contracts and everything, and then we pass it off to the lender for the lender to work with them on the whole money side. Although I don't work in lending and I'm not the one putting together the loan and everything, I still have a lot of knowledge when it comes to the requirements, what goes into the monthly mortgage payment, what they could be looking at as a down payment. And so I'm able to articulate this to clients, and it's especially needed when we are going to write a contract. So when I get a new buyer, I let them know up front that I'm the real estate agent and we work together with the lender, because sometimes buyers can ask you questions like that are deep into the lending process that you may not know. And so I don't want to give them wrong information. Plus, that's the lender's job. The lender's job is to make sure that all their financial questions are answered and that the money's in line so that we can get to closing and that we can close on this properly. And so that we can close on this property in the right way. So come to the board with me. I want to show you a few things as it concerns to down payments and monthly payments and how you can calculate them. Typically on a contract, there are going to be three pieces of financial information that's super important, and this could help make or break your deal, but it's things that you need to know as a real estate agent because you have to fill out the contract. And so ahead of time, make sure that you have already received financing authorization, or at least a pre-approval from whatever lender your buyer is using, so that you can fill this information out on the contract. So we have our cash from buyer, we have our loan amount, and then we have our sales price. Those are three numbers that we use on pretty much every single contract. Unless it's a cash deal, you still have to fill this out. And so the way to calculate these, I kind of like to work backwards a little bit. For this example, I'm just going to use a nice round figure. And so we're going to use a property that costs $100,000 or is being sold for $100,000. So we're going to go ahead and put that sales price of $100,000 here. And then the cash from buyer is going to be whatever they are putting down on the property. This doesn't include closing costs, so don't count closing costs into this number. This is strictly down payment. So whatever number they put there as cash from buyer, this is what's expected to go to the down payment of the actual property. We're going to just say, for instance, they are putting 5% down. So on a $100,000 home, that's going to be $5,000. So that'll leave the actual loan amount. That's the amount that the buyer is going to be financing. This is the number that the lender, the bank, the mortgage company, this is what they're going to be giving as far as lending goes. All we have to do for that is minus this 5,000 from that 100,000, and that tells us what the loan amount is. Since our loan amount is $95,000, that's the amount that the buyer is going to be financing over the term of their loan. Or you can kind of say that that's the mortgage amount. But something to note, especially when it comes to mortgages, this loan amount is not all that the buyer is going to be paying per month. Because what a lot of people think that they can break the payment scenario down is they just take this $95,000 and divide that up over 30 years, and they think that's how much the buyer is going to be paying per month. But that's not true. There's 4 things that go into a buyer's actual monthly payment. And the easy way to remember what those things are, we use this little acronym, and that is PITI. So PITI. Here's what this stands for. This stands for principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Those are the 4 things that go into someone's monthly payment. Now, of course, there can be things like a HOA or certain other things depending on what they're purchasing, but for the most part, this is what's going to be that monthly payment. So just know, if a buyer asks you, what am I looking at per month, don't just tell them the sales price divided over 30 years, because you're going to be leading them in the wrong direction. So principal is the actual mortgage amount. So the principal amount is this $95,000 divided up over 30 years, and then divided up over 12 months. You get it. And so that's what this number is. So it's going to be pretty low. That's going to be a pretty low number, because you are dividing $95,000 up over 30 years, because for the most part, they're probably going to get a 30-year loan. There are other loan products out there, but for this example, I'm going to use the 30-year. The next number is going to be interest. Interest is one of those things that it's super hard to calculate if you're not working with a loan officer, because everyone's interest rate can be different. And there are a variety of factors that go into it, but mostly it's your client's financial situation. So it's going to be their credit, it's going to be their income, it's going to be whatever the bank assigns. Now, the interest rates are actually set from a very high level. So, I mean, you can pretty much open up any newspaper and see what today's interest rates are. Or you can walk into a bank and see posters everywhere, and they'll tell you what their interest rates are. But that's not 100% for your client, because everybody has different credit profiles. Everybody kind of falls within different brackets. And so the lender is the one that is going to give you the interest rate. And interest rates change daily. And so until you're going under contract, that interest rate is not necessarily locked. So don't tell a client what their interest rate is before speaking to a lender. You can give them what the national averages are, but that may not necessarily be theirs, especially if they're trying to do any type of programs or receiving any grants. You know, all of those things can affect the actual interest rate when it comes to their monthly payment. Next, we have our taxes. Taxes, like taxes for cars and for just regular merchandise, vary. When we get into real estate taxes, there are certain things that can change that taxable amount, depending on what city you're in, what county, state taxes. Even some neighborhoods have school districts charge a school district tax. So that's something to kind of know. What you can do, though, you can get an estimation of your taxes, because taxes actually vary by the value of the property as well. And so if the property is worth more now, the taxes will be higher. And then lastly, we have insurance. Insurance is one of those things that can vary as well, because insurance is actually based on the property. And so it's based off of the property's location, the age of the property, the condition of the property, things like that. Just like a car, your insurance can be higher or lower. They tend to research if there's been any previous claims on the property, the age and condition of the roof, Most companies will even send somebody out to look at the property before they actually insure it. And so that's another value that can change, that you don't want to, give your client a hard number about, because it may not be true at the end of the day. But these four things are what goes into the actual monthly payment: your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Now, at the closing table, there are other closing costs, such as your title fees, your attorney fees, lender fees, and then also fees for the real estate agent. What I want you to do, I want you to let me know in the comments. I'm going to give you just like a little quiz question and see who can answer this correctly. I'm going to put your math to the test. I want you to tell me how much a client would be getting a mortgage for a property that is $450,000 and they are putting 20% down. Let me know your answer in the comments. I want to see who understands this real estate math. I hope this information has been helpful to you. If you do have any questions, feel free to ask me them in the comments, and please give me a thumbs up if this video was informative. And I always appreciate you subscribing to my channel. So if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button, because I release content like this all the time, and I would love to have you a part of my community. So until next time, I'm Chastin J. Miles, and I will talk to you soon.